Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Tips. I'm Marin Smith, Content Manager here at Grow Schools. We're here diving into the biggest challenges facing school leaders. And today I've got my colleague Ashley back with me. Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Marin.
Our VP of Marketing. So we're here to talk about social media for schools. So this is really geared towards schools, who might be in a situation where they're posting regularly on Facebook, Instagram, maybe even experimenting with TikTok, some video. But when they look at their enrollment numbers, there's no clear connection there. So it feels like they're shouting into the void and wondering if any of this actually matters. So Ashley's going to help us understand what social media actually accomplishes and how to stop feeling like maybe you're feeling like you're wasting your time on things that don't work. So let's kick off with something you say that can sound a little bit surprising, which is that no platform is driving qualified leads by itself in 2026. So can you explain what social media actually does if it's not driving leads, and if it's not directly, converting viewers into enrolled students?
Yeah. I know schools are always a little surprised. And it's true. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, none of them are going to turn strangers who have never heard of your school into enrolled students on their own. They're awareness tools. They aren't great lead generators. Anecdotally, sometimes people do find you on social media and they do complete a form and turn into a lead, but not at the level, not the volume to fill your school ultimately. Social media can help your school get noticed, but your website, some of the search ad campaigns that schools can run, those types of things, school tours, the experience at the school, those are what's actually going to convert families into enrolled students. And the truth is that, most of your followers on social media are already part of your school community. They're your current families. And it's a really great way to consistently remind families why they chose your school, to post content that really helps to reinforce that school pride, that connection and sense of belonging, and celebrate your community. And that can help to build retention and to help, turn your enrolled families into ambassadors, which can also naturally drive enrollment and referrals, building a stronger pipeline, but it's not doing that on its own. And it's definitely not going to do that. It's not going to drive leads if you're only posting organic content, which means not paid on social media. You should still post your enrollment reminders, though, and your lottery info and those kinds of things, because folks are looking, and that does help with that social proof of this is a real school and they're active and there's real people there, for people who are prospective families who might be checking you out.
Yeah. Can you kind of tease out the difference there? You said, there's organic content and there's paid advertising. So why do schools need both, and what's the difference there?
Yeah. So your organic content is what shows up on your feed when someone looks at your page, and it also shows up on other people's feeds if they follow you, or maybe if other people that they know, share it or engage with them, engage with your content. And so that organic content can help to build credibility. If someone hears about you, they check out your page, they don't see anything recent, maybe it looks like your school is inactive, but if they see those regular posts, they see, field trips in your community, out there doing things, that can help to build trust in your organization. But you're probably not, it's not going to be how people discover you, probably. Paid ads, which is where you put a little bit of budget and say, I want to show these posts to more people, or where you build a campaign and create some ad copy and build an audience and get specific about who you're trying to reach. Those types of campaigns, and again, they don't have to be very expensive, but when you put some budget behind what you're posting on Facebook, that can help you reach people who don't know you exist yet.
Got it. Seems like a really important distinction. So thanks for clarifying that. Let me pause for just a second and welcome anyone who's joining us a little after the hour. Ashley and I are talking about social media and what it does to sort of engage, as you explained, engage your currently enrolled families, and what things like paid advertising can do to move the needle on enrollment. So you can catch all our conversations with experts on school leadership challenges every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So back to Ashley. You've mentioned a lot of times this idea of a 60-40 balance for social media content. Can you break down what that means and why it matters for schools?
Yeah, so that rule, it just means that, roughly 60% of your content should show who you are. It should highlight your school culture, moments in the school day, and especially your student and family experiences. This is where you're building connection with families, you're reminding families why they're part of your school community, and you're also showing new families why they should want to be a part of it. And then, about 40% should invite some kind of action to enroll. So open house reminders, enrollment deadlines, here's how to apply, things like that. You don't want to use social media. Social media it's social, right? It's supposed to be about our connections. It shouldn't just be a platform for making announcements. You want to build those relationships with your current families, but also provide the information new families need, and attract those new families. So it's just a rule to say, if all you're doing is posting enrollment reminders, all of the time, you might be missing, kind of a powerful piece of the social media puzzle.
Yeah. So, or maybe you're only posting, oh, school's closed today due to weather, or like announcement type things, which I see a lot coming across on my feed. So trying to find that balance seems important. Not that you shouldn't post that, but making sure you mix it up.
Yeah, you need both. Absolutely.
Okay. Any other content types that you've seen working really well to kind of engage on social media? It's always, I feel like, helpful to just pool some ideas, because social media can feel hard to get creative after a while. What ideas do you think would work for school leaders?
Yeah, well, we could have a whole session about video and how video is, so important on social media now, more so than even a year ago. But there's still the question of like, what kind of videos, right? So this really applies to video posts, or written posts, or if you're sharing something with a photo. And I'd say that the most powerful content, whatever the format, is showing your school in action and showing the real families that make up your community, and teachers. So, student testimonials, if you can get short videos of kids talking about what they love about your school, keep it authentic. It doesn't need to be scripted, day in the life content where you follow a teacher or a student throughout their day. Virtual tours, just, take out your phone, walk through and show the space, show your playground and your science lab, and the where kids do pick up and drop off and all of that kind of stuff. And then parent voices, so same thing, highlighting other parents really are your best marketing, and so getting some parents to help tell their story about why they chose your school.
Yeah, really great tips. And you can see on the back end, as you're managing your social media, the difference between the reach that a video has versus a still post, and you can see the little eyeball symbol of like how many people saw this. It's always, really surprising, like, oh my, because the algorithm favors video too. So always a good reminder. Last couple questions for you. How can schools leverage community partnerships through social media to extend their reach? Another way to extend reach besides video.
Yeah, I think this is definitely underutilized. And when I see schools who are doing it really well, I think, I think it's noticeable, and it's really helping them. So, you're probably as a school already partnering with some nonprofits or others in your community. Maybe you're partnering with the library or rec centers, or, the Boys and Girls Club or sports leagues or something like that. And so when you post about, first of all, do post about those things. And then when you do post about them, tag them, tag the library. If you highlight a student athlete, you can tag their team. So, your audience these partners' audiences can also become your audience when you tag them and when they share their content, your content with their followers, and help you to reach families who you might not otherwise have reached.
Yeah. Great tip. And using that collaboration tool, at least in the Meta world, right? Like making sure something that someone's posted is also posted on your grid can be a
Yes.
great tool.
They've made it easier too. On Instagram, you can reshare content. It didn't used to be quite so easy to reshare someone's post. So, if a partner is posting about an event you're having, definitely reshare it,
Yeah. Great tip. Last question for you. I know we're almost out of time, but I'm curious about this last one. It says, followers don't equal enrollments, which kind of circles us back to the top of the conversation. When schools are looking at metrics, if followers don't equal enrollments, what metrics can they be looking at in order to feel successful?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think engagement is a good metric. It's a more powerful metric than your follower count. If you're posting a lot and you have a lot of followers, but people aren't engaging with your content, that might mean that you're not posting the right things. But then if your goal is enrollment, then you should really be tracking things like, are people clicking through on your links? Are they visiting your website from social media? Are they filling out inquiry forms? If you post an event on Facebook for your tours, are people showing up? And then our current, families engaging as well. So track where the inquiries on your site are coming from. You can track sources about, where people who visit your website are coming from. And, you should see Facebook as a source. And ideally, if you're doing things right, you start seeing more people who are coming from Facebook or Instagram. And then, I talk about this, I think every time we talk, make sure that people ask, how did you hear about us? When someone says, I saw you on Facebook, make a note of that. That's good data.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ashley, this was super, super helpful as always. Thanks for helping us cut through some of the noise around social media. I really appreciate you being here. You can catch us again every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, talking through real challenges school leaders are facing. And if you want more marketing strategy, social media planning, things like that, head over to growschools.com, check out our resource library. So thanks to Ashley and everyone watching, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, Marin.